There is the other way to review your or what you have read, that you pick 10 pages like randomly. For example, from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, daily pick randomly 10 pages and make a dog ear like this, a dog ear like this, and then now you read. This is reread what you already read deliberately before. Rowley's mom got him this night costume. That's way cooler than his costume from last year. His night outfit came out with a helmet and a seal and a real sword of everything and everything. I've never had a store-bought costume before. I still haven't figured out what I'm gonna go as tomorrow night, so I'll probably just throw something together at the last minute. I figure maybe I'll bring back the toilet paper mummy again. Throw something together. That is like you do something very quickly and not so carefully at the last minute. But I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow night, so that might not be the smartest choice. In the last few years, the grown-ups in my neighborhood have been getting cranky about my lamb costumes, and I'm starting to think it's actually having an effect on the amount of candy I'm bringing in. But I don't really have time to put together a good costume because I'm in charge of planning out the best route for me and Rowley to take tomorrow night. This year, I've come up with a plan that will get us at least twice the candy we scored last year. Halloween! About an hour before we were supposed to start trick-or-treating, I still didn't have a costume. At that point, I was seriously thinking about going as a cowboy for the second year in a row. In a row, it means continuously. In a row. But when Mom knocked my door and handed me a pirate costume with an eye patch and a hook and everything, Rowley showed up around 6:30 wearing his night costume. But it didn't look anything like it looked yesterday. Rowley's mom made all these safety improvements to it, and you couldn't even tell that he was supposed to be anymore. She cut out a big cone in front of the helmet so he could see better and covered him up in his reflective tape. She made him wear his winter coat underneath everything, and she replaced his sword with a glow stick. I grabbed my pillowcase and me and Rowley started to head out, but Mom stopped us before we could get out the door. Man, I should have known there was a catch when Mom gave me that costume. A catch is like a trap. I told Mom there was no way we were taking Manny with us because we were going to hit 152 houses in 3 hours. And plus, we were going to be on the Snake Road, which is way too dangerous for little kids like Manny. I should never have mentioned that last part because the next thing I knew, Mom was telling Dad he had to go along with us to make sure we didn't step foot outside our neighborhood. Dad tried to scream out of it, but once Mom makes her mind, there's no way you can change it. Scream out, like try to escape from it. Scream out. However, before we even got out of our own driveway, we ran our neighbor, Mr. Mitchell, and his kid, Jeremy. So, of course, they tag along with us. Manny and Jeremy wouldn't trick or treat at any houses with spooky decorations on them. So that ruled out pretty much every house on our block. Dad and Mr. Michel started talking about football or something, and every time one of them wanted to make a point, they'd stop walking. So we were hitting only about one house every 20 minutes. After a couple of hours, Dad and Mr. Mitchell took the little kids home. I was glad because that meant me and Rowley could take off. My pillowcase was almost empty, so I wanted to make up as much as possible. A little while later, Rowley told me he needed a potty break. I made him hold off for another 45 minutes, but by the time we got to my grandma's house, it was pretty clear that if I didn't let Rowley use the bathroom, it was gonna get messy. So I told Rowley if he wasn't back outside in 1 minute, I was gonna start helping myself to his candy. The reason why we make a mark like this, so make sure that the daily target is 10 only, so that you didn't take a lot of time for spending for reviewing the story by rereading it. And yes, it's just set up the target and do it daily. After that, we headed back out on the road, but it was already 10:30, and I guess that's when most grown-ups decide Halloween is over. You can kind of tell because that's when they start coming to the door in their pajamas and giving you the evil eye. We decided to head home. We made up a lot of time after Dad and Manny left, so I was pretty satisfied with how much candy we took in. When we were halfway home, this pickup truck came roaring down the street with a bunch of high school kids in it. The kid in the back was holding a fire extinguisher, and when the truck passed by us, he opened fire. I have give Rowley credit because he plucked about 95% of the water with his seal. And if he hadn't done that, all our candy would have gotten soaked. When the truck drove away, I yelled out something that I regretted about 2 seconds later. "We're calling the cops!" I was yelling. "We're calling the cops!" The driver slammed on the brakes. Stop. On the brakes, and he turned his truck around. Me and Rowley started running, but those guys weren't right on their heels. The only place I could think of that was safe was Grandma's house, so we cut through a couple backyards to get there. Grammar was in bed already, but I knew she keeps the key under the mat on her front porch. Once we got inside, I looked out the window to see if those guys had followed us, and sure enough, they did. I tried to trick them into leaving, but they wouldn't budge. Move. Budge or budge. Okay, let's check this later. Let's check how it's pronounced. In case that 10 pages is too much for you, so you can adjust the target as 5 or something, but maintain it daily. Okay. After a while, we realized the teenagers were going to wait us out, so we decided we were just gonna have to spend the night at Grandma's. That's when we started getting cookie, making monkey noises at the teenagers and whatnot. Well, at least I was making monkey noises. Rowley was kind of making owl noises, but I guess it was the same general idea. I called Mom to tell her we were going to crash at Grandma's for the night, but Mom shouted really mad on the phone. She said it was a school night and that we had to get home right that instant. So that meant we're gonna have to make a run for it. A run for it. Run for your life. I looked out the window, and this time I didn't see the truck, but I knew those guys were hiding somewhere and were just trying to throw us out. So we snuck out the back door, hooped over Grandma's fence, and ran all the way to Snake Road. I figured out chances were better there because there aren't any street lights. Snake Road is scary enough on its own without having a truckload of teenagers hunting you down. Every time we saw a car coming, we drove into the bushes. It must have taken us a half hour to go 100 yards, but believe it or not, we made it all the way home without getting caught. Neither one of us let our guard down until we got to my driveway. Okay, what next? So it's the end of 10 pages. It's very important that you can maintain the habit of every day you review 10 pages only. So save it for the next day, even though it's too you are too curious or you don't remember what happened next. Okay, just wait until next day and complete 10 more pages later. Okay, this page 103. Okay, hope you enjoy it and see you then.